Okay, hi. My name is Clintleetwood, and if you've never watched one of these videos before, allow me to give you a quick little primer. This is going to be a replay review of a player that has asked for it on the official Mecha Discord by the name of Zebane. I have set the camera to be on their side of the field, and we're going to go through each one of these rounds and talk about the game, at least in how I approach it. If you've never watched one of these videos before, it's going to be kind of a long-winded dialogue with myself. It's going to be a lot of stream of consciousness stuff, and usually it's not really edited. I'm going to try to at least edit a few things here, make things a little bit better for the viewers. But mainly, I want this to be pretty information dense and help out a new player with some basic pointers, or maybe more some more advanced stuff. So the way this is going to work is, if I see something that I want to talk about, I'm going to pause the replay like I have now and talk about it. So for example, right, we're at round one, and we are Fire Badger spec, and we are against Supply Specialist. Supply Specialist went for Fang Sledge Arc, and we have gone for Brawler Storm. Just some initial impressions here. Your opponent has done the right thing by, one, going for both deploys, which we can see right here, and two, unlocking a unit. There are multiple free units in this game that you can unlock, and those are Arclight, Crawler, not Sledge, Arclight, Crawler, Fang, Marksman. We should always have these 4 units unlocked over the course of the game. Sometimes it changes up with Specialist, right? Aerial Specialist allows you to unlock certain air units, and Giant Spec, which allows you to unlock Giants for free. You should be utilizing those free unlocks too. So some initial impressions, right? Us not taking this deployment here is very bad. Over the course of the game, right, there are only so many deploys, right? Even if we were to click this button every turn, right, if we go to round 8, we would only have 24 deploys over the course of the entire game. So us skipping one, I think is generally a bad thing to do. And another thing that I think is generally bad to do here is we're not unlocking a unit, which we should be doing. This will make pivots a little bit easier later on in the game. But ultimately, right, it just is a good thing to do and try to practice. 3 storms against this opening composition, not the worst idea, right? Like, I mean, realistically, these are all pretty slow moving, and they all do pretty poorly into storms, at least on round 1. You know, if the sledgehammers get a little out of control, that dynamic can change quite a bit. So yeah, pretty typical round 1, I would say, for this sort of setup. We're going to see, this tower mutually go down. But the reality, right, is that once this tower debuff wears off, and it does right now, everything should die under a hail of missiles. So that was round 1. Zebane getting a nice little um, um, advancement there. We go ahead and sell something, and it looks like we sold a crawler. Not really sure if I understand the intent here. This is a net neutral play this round, with the intent of maybe selling things off later. Oh no, we sold off the Fire Badger. Okay, I see. So that's an extra 100 credits. Sure, let's see how we handle it this round. We go for spiders with AA. Huh. I think this is crazy. And I don't mean to make that sound inflammatory. It sounds like you're trying to play around wasps. The reality, right, is that if we just put a bangs here, a missile here, upgrade this tower, we do just that plenty fine without having to take a round 2 upgrade. You're not aware, here is a rule that I would like you to follow moving forward. Do not upgrade your units. Do not tech anything until round 4. So, interestingly enough, your opponent does go for wasps. So this is, I guess, an incredibly hard read on your opponent, and well done, because this will absolutely murder wasps. And I think this is also... Excuse me, I'm yawning. I think this is also a pretty heads-up idea. 1 by your opponent and 2 by you. This anti-missile sentry would stop this kind of missile cheese if we were doing something like that over here. But this kind of grouped up unit placement is completely vulnerable to a missile sentry like this, and 2 missile sentries should handedly deal with this push. So that's fine. I think that's okay. I think 1 missile is more than enough, especially if we were to fortify this tower, which I think we should this turn. But like I said, I think this round will go much the same way as the previous round. So yeah, we'll see that missile just wipe out literally everything. These wasps should come into range of this missile and be wiped out as well. So you've covered all avenues. Well done. And with the cost of only 100 credits, you have wiped out their 100 credit sentry and have done a significant chunk of change in terms of raw damage to their HP bar. And you go for Typhoons and instantly deck them. Man, that's crazy. I think this is an overrated tech at the moment. I think this one scales significantly with numbers. And what I would have liked to have seen you do, instead of just making a second Typhoon and teching it, just make a third. Just like Typhoon here, Typhoon here, Typhoon here. You are cooking with gas. We loan round 3. I think this is a mistake. Not be doing this. If you would like to know some metrics in which to judge when you should be loaning, if we're going to die, we should be loaning. 2, if it's round 6 or above, we should be considering loaning. And round 3, if we think we can kill our opponent, we should be leveling. I'm so sorry, my cat is having a conniption in the background. But yeah, us missiling 3 times here, I have to ask, like, what do you think is going to happen, right? Like, there wasn't a spell. This was a unit drop round, so we don't have any, like, shenanigans going on here. We've got this completely locked down with a sort of anti-air play. And we also have this locked down. So we really shouldn't be afraid of this push anymore. We shouldn't need to double missile this stuff anymore. We should just be able to click this button and kind of lightly defend this tower, and it's probably more than good enough. Like, realistically, right, we could fortify this tower, drop a Stormcaller right here, and probably never have to worry about it again. But, you know, this push by your opponent is going to get completely stuffed. This is what we like to call a little tower cheese. We'll go to round 7 this game. Interesting. Your opponent going for a level 1 attack enhancement. I think that's great. We should have both of these clicked by round 5. So we get missiled back. And a little important thing to note here is that this crawler should have been 1 more tile forward. Wouldn't have lost the Stormcaller here. This Farseer is going to actually prove to be quite a nuisance for us, I think. So these wasps will get deleted. It really comes down to how much damage can we secure on this right-hand push. And we do actually manage to handle it just well. Just well enough. And we should, or we ought, to get this anti-missile sentry, which is going to be huge for us. Or maybe not. It looks like actually these things will run forward, and we should not get it, which is a little bit of a downside. But we put our opponent into a pretty bad spot. We go for intensive training. We're not going to use it, at least not yet anyways. And we're adding on another spider with AA on the left side, and we're double missiling again. I don't know if this is a great idea. We have 200 credits, right? Because we did loan last round, which does hurt our economy. So realistically, right, we've only placed this fighter, we've placed this missile. We are basically out of money. Interesting. Anti-missile disco trucks. Let me go for a level 1 attack at round 4. Yeah, I think that's fine. We're going to be running into a lot of issues here with these Phoenixes, though. Phoenixes do kind of churn fighters up. We'll see how this ends up going. These wasps will actually cause the missile to go into the Phoenix. But these Farseers are kind of doing what they're supposed to do, right? Which is to be like this sort of middling, tanky unit that's also just really good. And it should be able to clear out this push. And honestly, the best way to kind of stuff this is just to set up some giants in front of it. Give them some beef to get stuck on. Scorpions are also fantastic here. Deadlock goes for 4x Bloomin', I like to call him. Combining his marksman with Phoenixes, this is usually a mistake. Usually, if you see this, the first thing I would do is be clicking the marksman to see if assault mode marksman is being ran, and it is not. So I'm a little confused by this line here. Let's see what you end up going for. I think this is like an immediate 2x Scorpion, click range, throw it right here, and never look at this side of the board again. But let's see how you approach it. You also go for 4x Bloomin', and then you go for Launcher Overload on Storms. I think this might be a mistake, only because this now puts us well within the range of not only the Phoenixes, right, but also these Farseers can close the distance between us really quickly now. I think I think what you can do here, right, is if your opponent's doing this sort of like anti-missile shit against you, and they've clicked this button, you can just sell, right? We don't need to commit any harder to this. We don't need to try to beat the tech. Like, we can just sell out of these. We can put down Scorpions, a fortress, a fucking war factory, for the love of God. Like, there's a lot of great options here that we can commit into when your opponent has overreacted and clicked stuff like this and put down a missile sentry, right? Or anti-missile sentry. Some mobile beacon shenanigans. I don't think this really does a whole lot. We go for quick reload. I think range is just better here. Mainly because, right, if we want to talk about things, their marksman unit has 160 range, and ours only has 140. So in a duel, this wins. Like a piece of advice I would give you, right, is if your opponent's marksman units have range, range begets range. So we have to match that range, otherwise we will lose. Especially in this sort of setup, right, when it's both players playing at or around their tower, range is the most important stat right now. This is entirely no man's land, and everything should be, if it walks into here, it should die, basically. We got a photon coating on these Farseers over here, and we can see, right, now we have Stormcallers kind of tanking, and I don't know if we want that. I think we want our Stormcallers just comfortably DPSing. And, yeah, you were kind of seeing this issue with these Farseers, right? We don't have anything tanky to slow them down. And when they're pushing in like that, not only are they shooting down our missiles, but they are basically also just heavily DPSing us. Something that we could have done as well is just a incendiary bomb right here. Force the opponent to play around it. And we do go for a war factory. Neat. We go for range. Neat. We don't play around incendiary. Not so neat. We do click rapid resupply on round 6, which I think is correct. I think this is what we should be doing. What I would really like to see, though, is shields. We just need to have shields. I don't understand what this is trying to do. I guess this is trying to get through the missile being shot down. But, I mean, we just lack any amount of chaff, right? We have one crawler on the field. I'm not really sure what this is trying to do. One crawler is not an army. If we look at your opponent, right, he's using these sledgies as chaff in some capacity, these fangs as chaff, and these wasps as chaff. So realistically, right, we have one piece of chaff, and if we're playing War Factory, we need to have this thing completely smothered in chaff at all points. So we're playing against an opponent that has 9 pieces of chaff, and we have 1. Just by looking at these boards, I would say that this player is a higher rated player and is more likely to win based off of their positioning and how they are approaching their army composition. This seems like, from your side, right, this seems like something that I see a lot in lower MMR play, and that's not to be a slight or, me shooting a shitty at you. This is just something that I think lower MMR players have a tough time evaluating, which is how strong Chaff is. Chaff, while it means cannon fodder, while it means, like, something that is meant to die in the long run, the most important aspect of Chaff, right, is distracting their stuff from shooting our stuff, right? And so we're going to be spending a ton of time killing this, and while this Farseer, while this Marksman, while these Phoenixes get to have free reign on our units basically off the get-go. And this might eke out a round, but realistically, what our opponent can easily do here is... Oh my goodness, it's not even going to eke out a round. I mean, what our opponent can realistically do here is just add in a melting point. We're dead. We don't have any way to protect it. And these Farseers are just way out of control at this point. Wasp Swarm, it's fine. I mean, there's Sticky Oil Bomb to slow down a push, Orbital Bombardment to slow down the push, and based off of this grouping, it should be completely destructive. We go for 3 Fangs with portable shield. I mean, it's like pretty good into everything that he's doing, right? But at the end of the day, I don't know if we have enough stuff. Here. Hard shot, arc light. Interesting. Fort with AA would be absolutely disgusting here, by the way. And we're just overwhelmed on our left side. I think we're just a little too reliant on missiles. What was the round that went, like, really bad for us? Was it round 4? It was round 4. I'm going to take this round over and see what I can do here, Zebane. We have 3 packs of crawlers. Missile over here. Should catch all this. We got Wasp being dealt with. What do we need? I'm going to say this guy maybe outlived his purpose. And something that I really want to see here is, like, double score. I'm going alone here, even though it's probably not the greatest, because I want to see how Scorpions with range do into this board. Oh my goodness. I think you solve all of your problems if you just do this. Yeah, and it's not particularly close. This side gets completely cleaned up, no problem. Typhoons are there to easily hold it down. Yeah, okay, so I hope this was helpful, right? The real problem, I think, is that we relied on our Stormcallers to answer the Farseers. It feels like looking at our board originally, we were using our Farseers, or not our Farseers, our Stormcallers to be kind of a catch-all. I don't think that's what this unit is, especially not against something like Farseers, which can easily click this tech. I think if you just took the Scorpions later on in that drop, you would have seen a lot of stabilization, and you can see that this round wasn't particularly close. I'm pretty sure that your opponent at round 4 has not 1800 health. I could be wrong, but let's double check. Your opponent has 19, almost 2k HP. We could have put him on death's door with that move. Cool. So here's some key takeaways for you, Zebane. Try not to tech units before round 4. Try to have more chaff. The rule I've heard, and I don't really always adhere to this, but this is like a general rule of thumb that I think maybe you should try to adhere to, is for at least the first 3 rounds, we should have at least 2 chaff deployments per round. So think about that. Try to incorporate that. See if that helps. Another thing, right? No more teching units on round 2 and round 3. We save that shit until after round 4 or on round 4. Unless we're committing to something like carry arcs, which like you might want to click range or charge shot on round 3. It's up to you. But that's completely neither here nor there. It's like a completely different strategy, right? The other thing, right, is units have direct counters, and I think you are more efficient unlocking that unit, placing that unit, than you are upgrading a unit to act as a counter for that unit that might be soft countering us in the case of like the Scorpions, Stormcallers versus the Farseer. And you're relying too much on missile sentries to defend your tower when you can just do a fortification on one of the towers and make it very hard for an opponent to kill. I think tempo missiles are fine. I think using them as a end-all be-all catch-all for defense is not fine, and you have to work on that. I think people are going to check you on that, and I think it's going to cause you to lose a lot of games or get a lot of really unfortunate tower timings and lead to some very frustrating encounters. So, yeah, that's what I would say. Anyways, that's all for me. I hope you enjoyed. Do the whole YouTube thing, like, comment, subscribe, or don't. Let's get off my bones. All right, bye-bye.